yes, let's make sure you click. Oh, yes, and then you. Yes. Okay, let's resume. Hi guys, DeeSims here and welcome back to the channel. And today I have a little bit of a different type of video for you. So today is for all my Erebus lovers. So if you do not know, Erebus was a machinima series that I started on my channel about 2 or 3 years ago. And as usual with my machinimas, as well as doing all the other things that I do on my Twitch channel and my YouTube channel, it became a very daunting task to get out Erebus episodes because they take an insane amount of time and I just fell behind on them. So for the longest time, everybody has always been asking for all of the details that went down with Erebus. Now, if you do not know, there are 3 full episodes on my channel right now. It is like a chapter series. I believe it was supposed to be an 8 to 9 part series for season 1, and everybody has been asking me lately for Erebus and what happened and all of the juicy details. So that is what this video is going to be about today. So last night on my stream, we kind of went down like a little trip on memory lane and we talked about Erebus, girl. We watched the first episode, skimmed through episode 2 and 3, and then I gave all the juicy details. I know this video is not going to be for everybody, but it is more of like something you should just have on in the background. It is a podcast. It is something you listen to. It's a vibe. If you're down for a story, if you're down for some juicy, some tea, some gossip, if you want to just immerse yourself into a brand new storyline, I highly recommend watching the first 3 episodes of Erebus on my channel. I will link them in the description down below, as well as in the comments. I will link episode 1, I will link episode 2, and I will link episode 3. You can watch them all, and then you can listen to the rest of this podcast that is going to give you the full rundown, storyline, every juicy detail, everything you've ever wanted to know about Erebus is in this video. So please remember that this was a live stream. We really, at this point in the stream, we were all sitting laid back, like I was just talking. So like I said, this is very much like a podcast, or maybe like a little bit of a ebook or audiobook, I meant to say. It's more of something like that. Get up, go wash dishes. I know you gotta wash some dishes. Go ahead, get that work done. Go ahead, do that homework. Go ahead, do them assignments. Go ahead, start that lesson plan. Go ahead, wash clothes, fold that laundry, take out your braids, whatever you need to do, grease your scalp, and put this on, drink your water, and get ready for all the tea. So like I said, it is about an hour explanation of Erebus. It is a podcast. It is the chill vibes. And I'm just going to put it on. It's just my authentic self telling you guys the rest of my story. If you have any questions, if you have any concerns, any comments, please put them in the comments down below. I'm going to be trying my best to respond to every single last comment and give you guys the closure. I want to be honest, I contemplated bringing Erebus back. Watching this, I was so happy with it. I know the growth that I have when it comes to machinima making, and it inspired me to get back into it. But I know with what I'm doing on my YouTube channel and Twitch and just full-time on both platforms, it is impossible for me right now to do a machinima series. And I don't want to do the thing where I give you an episode and then you don't get another one for like 6 months. So this is my bow. This is my Sarah, say Sarah. This is it. This is the end. This is my black swan. I'm giving you everything, and here it is. Enjoy. Okay. So Nova has a big secret. She says that in Jade's episode, but she talks about it more in this one. Okay, basically Nova is pregnant. Nova is pregnant, and the reason her ex-boyfriend and her got into this fight is because he wants her to get rid of the baby. Because Nova, I think at the time, is like, I want to say 17 or 18 years old. And her ex-boyfriend is a cop. And he didn't want her. He's been dating her for a long time. So he's like he like 25. And Nova is 17, 18, something like that. So their relationship has never been public. When Nova talks about how her mom kicked her out years ago. So Nova's been kicked out for a long time because she was rebellious. Her mom couldn't keep up with her. Her mom couldn't like control her or whatever. It was definitely, it wasn't giving, no, it was. Okay. When they started talking, I would say Nova was probably 16. He was like, I want to say he was like 21. I think I had it prepped that he was like 21. She was 16. And it was definitely like a situation where a 21 should not be dating a 16-year-old. And then they were dating for like 2 years after that. So that would make him 23 and make Nova, what I say, 3 years or 2 years? 2 years. So that'll make Nova 18 now. Okay. So basically he was very like controlling and controlled the situation with her. And Nova needed him because she didn't have any place to go because her mom kicked her out. And there's a reason why her mom kicked her out. We're going to get into that in a second. And so she finds this group home, goes thinking, okay, it's just a safe place for me to stay. I can get myself together, figure it out. I have time there. So that was the big secret. And the reason she said that the secret was, it was more important now than ever when she was talking to Archie was because of Cordell. She's like in love with Cordell. She could see herself with Cordell. Cordell is sweet. He takes his time. When they went to the gym, like Nova wanted to do things further. Like I think there was a shower scene. Like she wanted to take things further, but Cordell was like, no, this is not how we're gonna do it. Like I respect you, and that's not how I want to do things. And that really meant something to Nova, and she knows that she's gonna have to tell Cordell like her big secret, like what's going on. And she knows she's gonna tell him. That's why she had that panic attack. She was really like, she wants to completely be done with her ex-boyfriend so she can, she still is trying to make a decision whether or not she wanted to keep the baby or have the baby. And it's very, very early on, clearly, because she's not showing or anything like that. She wasn't showing when the scene happened, the concert scene, because I think at that point she was 3 months. So she really didn't have anything that you can show. It was very, very early when she found out that she was pregnant. So if we go in order, the next story would have been Peyton's story. Peyton comes back from a date and clearly she's all bruised up. She was attacked. So basically on this date, she was waiting. She was talking to this guy online. She was waiting to meet up with him. Her sugar baby lifestyle. And she was meeting him for a movie in the city and he never showed up. And as she was walking back home, the guy who was supposed to come up for the date, like basically mugged her, robbed her, and took her money and took her purse and like beat her up or whatever. And she comes back in the house. She comes back after midnight, which is huge because, Mr. G has 3 rules: no drugs, including alcohol, no breaking curfew, and no cops. You break those rules, you're out. So these kids have been in this house. Jade is the only one who's been there for 10 years at that point, something like that. So everyone else has been in there for at least, I think everyone's been in there from a year to a year and a half or 2 years. Like that's the max, a year to 2 years. So Peyton comes in and basically the next episode, her and Nova were in the bathroom. Nova was like helping her clean up, like fixing up her scars and stuff, like first aid type of stuff. And she was Peyton tells Nova what happened, which was she got robbed and the guy took her money. And, it basically was like a setup. And we find out that Peyton comes from a very rich family. And, and the guy knew who she was from her past. Like he knew who because Peyton still goes by her name or her last name or whatever. So the guy knew who Peyton was and her family. And instead of hooking up with her to go to the movies or whatever, he hooked up with her to meet up to rob her and take, all of her stuff. So of course she doesn't have money now, which the guy didn't realize because she's not she doesn't live with her family anymore because clearly something happened in Peyton's story. So basically, Peyton tells Nova the story about Alex and how when she was a teenager in high school, she kind of fell in love with this person named Alex, and her family was very conservative, very like no showing of any skin, no provocative stuff, like really didn't like social media, didn't really care for technology, very, very conservative. And Peyton went to a private school, and Alex was a friend, and she really, really, really liked Alex, but never told Alex. And they would always plan, like sleepovers and hangout sessions and things like that. And one night at the sleepover that they had, just the two of them, Peyton made a move on Alex, and her parents walked in on Peyton and Alex hooking up, and that was just like completely against their rules and everything they stood for. So they were like, we're not going to have a daughter who doesn't listen to us, who can't listen to what we say, and who is like this. And so Peyton's telling the story, and Nova's like, your parents kicked you out because you were hooking up with somebody. Like, that just doesn't add up. Like, it doesn't make sense. Like, who cares if you were hooking up with someone? Okay, like, you made a mistake, you're a teenager, you made a mistake, blah blah blah. And then Nova started thinking, and it was like, something else has to be going on. It was like, okay, what was up with this Alex person? And then Peyton kind of hints at it and realizes that Alex was a girl. So Alex was Peyton's friend, and they always used to have sleepovers and hang out together. And that's when Peyton realized that she was bisexual. And her family walked in on her kissing a girl, and they were very conservative, and they kicked her out. But Peyton never tells that side of the story. And Nova kind of figured it out. When Nova figured it out, she's like, oh my gosh, Alex was a girl. And Peyton completely gets pissed and was like, no, why would you say that? Completely in denial, and like storms off and go to her room and just, completely like is mad at Nova. Like, why would you say some stupid mess like that? But we see in the what we're watching, will then pan over and you'll see that Alex is actually a girl. And Peyton was still at that moment was in denial about being bisexual and experimenting and liking the same gender. So that we learn about Peyton in that story, and the next day goes on. I think the next day happens and everyone is just chilling. I think Nova has another music session again where she just like listen to music, and there's like a whole bunch of B-roll and stuff like that. And then Peyton then comes in and tells her that, I'm sorry that I blew up at you like that. Like, that was completely out of line. It's just like basically coming to her identity, and she still doesn't know how to accept it. She still doesn't know how to express it because she has feelings for both male and female, and she doesn't know how to like get through that and stuff like that. So they talk a little bit more. They have more of that sentimental moment. So I just saw somebody say, why did Peyton care about Nova? Like, why does she care about her now? Because if you've seen in those first couple of episodes, she really didn't care. She really started to care for Nova. So that's what we see in Peyton's story. And I think another thing happens with Cordell. Like, they're closer and they're getting closer and closer. We see like a scene with Cordell and Nova getting close. And then I think the Erebus scene, when we see, the last thing we see with the Erebus scene is that he has her phone, and he's, what's his name? Archie takes her phone because he didn't want, her phone has everything on it. Archie blocks people, had worked on that phone before. So he knew what the phone was capable of, and he's the techie one out the group. So he takes her phone, so in case anything happened, like the police come or whatever, they don't have her phone to track anything that Nova has ever put on that phone. Also, I think I say in this later in the series, Archie saw what was on her phone. Remember, she went to him and was like, hey, can you block it? Okay. She was like, hey, can you block it? And, I need to figure out. Remember, she wanted to block her ex-boyfriend. So Archie saw everything that was on her phone, saw the pictures, saw who the guy was, saw that he was an adult, saw that he was a cop, saw all of their text messages exchanged. So he, at this point in Archie's episode, when he gives her the phone back, which is only episode 3, he knows everything, but Archie never says anything to anybody. It's not his place. So he never says anything to anybody, but he knew what was on that phone. So when it goes to Peyton, I think in the Erebus scene, Peyton says, like, we can't just leave her. I think they have another moment where they stop and Peyton's like, no, we need to go back. We need to get her. We need to help her. Like, we can't do this. And it just shows that Peyton actually feels some type of way towards Nova. Like, she, you know, feels like for her, because that is her friend. After this episode, after that episode 4, you will see her and Peyton like get a little bit closer because they shared that whole like little bonding moment. Okay. Next episode was TJ's story. TJ's story starts off another music session with Nova. I think I had that as a scene. And then TJ texts the group Erebus. Okay. And everybody is like, where are you at? Send us your location. What the fuck is going on? Like, we need to help you. Like, everybody knows how serious Erebus is. I think at this point, Cordell is in the city training. I think, I'm trying to think of everybody's name. Cordell's in the city training. Archie's at the house. Peyton is, I think, at the house. And Jade was in the city doing a photography event. And all of a sudden, everybody gets a text saying Erebus in the middle of her music session. And he's like, I'm on the way back to the house. Everybody, please just meet me back at the house. So everybody go, like the people who are at the house goes downstairs. The people who are in the city come back to the city. And he comes in the house and he's just, he comes in the house and he's like completely like freaking out. He's freaking out. He's like, oh my gosh, close the windows, turn the lights off. And they're like, what's going on? What's going on? And he had stolen something from a store and got caught, and it was on the news. So they didn't know who he was, but they had a description of him and what clothes he was wearing. And for whatever reason, he decided to come back to the house. He comes back to the house and he's like, I was lifting this stuff. I was lifting this stuff off of this store, yada yada yada. I got caught, and I don't know if they have my picture or whatever, but I heard police, you know, behind me. I lost them, and then I came here, and I'm just freaking out, trying to get everything together, like just freaking out, right? So he's like, I can't go through this. I can't get kicked out. All this kind of stuff. Everybody's like talking to him, coaxing him. Of course, Mr. G's not there. Mr. G's pretty much never at the house, y'all. He has, like they say, he has a gambling problem, so he's always out gambling or at the casino or the racetrack or whatever. So Mr. G's never there, but he has those rules. If Mr. G was to come home for whatever reason and see that TJ is on the news and they know of him and all this kind of stuff, he will be kicked out. And living at that house is the most important thing to every single person there, because they have no place to go. Everybody, there's no second chances. There's no way for them to go back. We also learned in TJ's story that, you know, he had parents, but they weren't very attentive to him. And I can't remember TJ's story, to be honest. I think he just leaves his house. Like, he still his parents are probably still out there. They could be alive, they could be dead, but you know, he was raised in like a trailer park, didn't come from a lot, and his father drank, his mom drank, and he was just in a bad situation. He just left. Like, honestly, no one's looking for him. No one cares. That was kind of TJ's thing. And in order for him to get money, he always said he never really had any skills or anything like that. So he just started lifting stuff. And, you know, that night, everything kind of dies down. They're not really talking about it on the news anymore. Nobody has come to the house. But, you know, you can see how panicked he was. Everyone else at this point has kind of like started to do other things around the house. And Nova is talking to TJ and she's like, everything's going to be fine. Like, don't worry about it. Try not to focus on it too much. I'm going to make sure you're okay. And he's like, oh, wait, my bad. he's like, how are you going to make sure everything's okay? Like, what do you mean? And he's like, she's basically like, it's going to be fine. Everything's going to work out. Like, let's just go to bed and I'll just make sure everything's good. Right. So I think there's a scene that Cordell and Nova get pretty close to like doing a do, but they stop. And then that's when the next scene, Nova's in her bed and she makes a phone call. She calls the ex-boyfriend. She's like, look, I need your help. And he's like, the guy is like, her ex-boyfriend, I can't even remember what his name is. We're just gonna call him ex-boyfriend. Ex-boyfriend is like, why do you need my help now? You want to answer my calls? You know how they would be if you didn't talk to them and whatever. She's like, look, I need your help. My friend is in trouble and you're the only person I can call right now. I need you to just clear this up so it doesn't get back to my friend or whatever. And she basically tells him about what it is. So it's like, oh, it was this store on such and such area. I need you to clear that news cycle. Like, have them talk about something else. Like, get my friend out of this, basically. And he was like, I'll talk to you. I'll get rid of that stuff if you meet up with me. If you come talk to me, because we need to talk. Did you handle the situation talking about the baby and all this kind of stuff? And she agrees. She agrees that if he clears it up to where none of this comes back to TJ, she will agree to meet up with him and talk to him. So he said, okay. Olivia Pope considered it handled. And I think at the end of, I think that's the end of TJ's thing. And Erebus scene was TJ saying, I think we made a good decision. Like, I think we're good, not going back. Because I think they were still stopped from Peyton's thing. Peyton, starting to care about or whatever. I think he's basically still an asshole. He's like, look, I think we did what we were supposed to do. Like, look, I know we all care about Nova or whatever, but we got to think about us. We're a family and all this kind of stuff. I think at this point, Cordell's like, shut up. Because he was like, I think Cordell chimes in. It's like, nobody wanted to leave Nova, but it's what we had to do or something like that. And that's the end of the Erebus scene. The next episode is Cordell's episode. And it starts with Cordell and Nova again making out, doing their little thing. Never go to the next limit. Nova almost telling him about her pregnancy. But know that she's gonna have to tell him soon. So he goes to train for the fight that he has coming up. Nova then goes to meet up with ex-boyfriend. Her and ex-boyfriend meet up, and it's a heated conversation in the park. He is not in his uniform or anything like that because nobody knows that he's a cop. Y'all not even supposed to know that until the end. But she's like, she basically lies to him, tell him that she got rid of the baby and that she is getting herself on her 2 feet. She just wanted a clear mind. She didn't mean to, ignore him or whatever. And he's like, all right, good. Then, you can come back and be with me and all this kind of stuff. And she's like, no, I really want to be on my own, get myself together. If we're meant to be, it'll happen later. Basically, she's just telling him what he wants to hear so he won't attack her or follow her or anything. He just, she's just saying whatever. She's saying what she need to say in that moment. So he's like not happy that she doesn't want to be with him anymore or whatever. He's like, oh, we can work things out. I'm sorry how things went. Yada, 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 blah, blah, blah. It's like a whole thing. She ends up leaving, he stays there. And I think she meets up with Jade in the city because y'all know Jade works in the city with photography and stuff. She meets up with Jade. They have some food and they talk about Cordell, how serious things are getting and how she has something she really needs to tell him. I think Jade is under the impression that she's going to tell Cordell that she loves him, but she's really going to tell Cordell about the baby and what she wants to do and stuff like that. So it's like 2 different things are going on. Jade thinks like, oh, this is going to be really good. You're talking to him tonight. You're going to tell him that you love him, da 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 da. but she's really talking about she's going to tell him her secret, which is she's pregnant. So that's that. The also Cordell's fight is the next day. So that's the end of wait. This is Nova's. I don't know what this episode is. I think that was the end of it. Oh no. I'm sorry. This is Cordell's episode. So yeah, so she meets up with him, ex-boyfriend. Ex-boyfriend's mad. She leaves. Go meets Jade for lunch. They talk. She thinks she's gonna tell Cordell about how she loves him, but she's really gonna tell Cordell about baby. But that night she doesn't end up telling Cordell about the baby because the fight is tomorrow. She doesn't want him to be off his game for the fight. So she decides not to tell him. The next day is the fight. Everybody's there. This is an underground fight. It's a fight club fight. Nobody talks about it. And it's completely illegal. It's not supposed to be a thing because he is technically, I think in my head, all of the kids in Erebus are like 18, but they stay in this house. Like, because Mr. G said, you're in this house until you're able to drink, which is 21. So in my head, all these kids are like 18 years old. So it's completely illegal. People pay to get in. They bet on the fighters. It's not sanctioned. It's not approved. Like, it is pretty much underground fighting. And it's like, it's boxing. So everyone meets up at this ring, and Cordell's excited. He's ready to win because there's like $5,000 on the line, which is a lot of money for them. That can hold them over for a really, really long time. He won't have to worry about, he won't have to train so hard. He can like lay low for a little bit, give his body a break. He'll have money in his pocket to do whatever he wants to do, right? So this is huge. So while Nova and Jade were in the city eating lunch and talking, ex-boyfriend was watching. Ex-boyfriend was watching the entire time, and that is shown that he basically is eavesdropping on them. So he hears about the fight, he hears about all that stuff. Fast forward to the fight. Cordell's ready. He's in the ring. Nova's like, oh, good luck. Da, 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 da. The whole house is there. All the teenagers are there to see his fight. And right when the fight is starting, Cordell's fighting, beating old components' butt, like giving works, like literally killing it. Like he doing this thing. And right when he's about to win, knockout, fight about to be over, guess who comes into the gym? Nova's man and his whole unit to crash the fight. So ex-boyfriend, Mr. Cop, who now y'all know is a cop because it is now revealed. Y'all saw him earlier in the episode, but now it's now revealed that he is a cop, breaks up the fight and basically kicks everybody out, takes all the money, and even threatens to lock up both fighters, but like, oh, I'm going to give y'all a break. He's making like little winks at Nova. You would think that he knows Nova, and everybody's like, there's no way that she knows him, so they're not paying it any attention, but they just think he's a creep for like, basically checking out Nova, winking at her, things like that. Nova knows who he is. Nova's completely terrified. She is like, there is no way that I can get away with everything much longer. I can't get away with the pregnancy. I can't get away with Cordell not knowing who he is. But then she's faced with, she thinks Cordell is bummed out. Like, he is pissed. He's livid that his fight was broke up. He's livid. He's been training for months for this, and he has nothing to show for it. He has no money. He has no medal. He has no, this was going to get his name out there so he can probably go legit. That was another thing. He really wanted to go legit because he didn't like the whole underground process. He just needed money. So this kind of just like ruined his name in the boxing world. If he ever was to become pro or go pro, go legit, it just ruined him because now everybody knows of this underground fight club and who the fighters were. And it just kind of put a stain on him, on his record as a fighter, as a person. So he was livid. He was pissed. He goes back to the house and he's just like angry as hell. Like, he's angry. He's pissed off. He is so mad. And Nova tells him who that guy was, who the guy who was leading the whole like bust. She tells him, that's my ex-boyfriend. And I'm so sorry this happened. So that's how the episode ends. So imagine Cordell's just like yelling, like, what the hell? Like, this was everything. I was working so hard. He's crying. He's emotional. He's angry. And he's just like, I worked so hard for this. And this is everything I've ever wanted. And then this asshole comes and breaks up the fight. And he's totally like, he was a, like, ex-boyfriend was an asshole. There is no way of putting it. He was a complete butt. Like, he is so many, he could have went about it so differently. He could have shut down the fight. He could have, I mean, not give them the money, but he could have been nicer with it. He came in there complete butthole, like, oh, this is what y'all doing, a whole bunch of thugs, like going off at the mouth, all this kind of stuff. So at the end of this, when he's blowing up and Nova's like, I'm going to calm him down and tell him everything, she just has like verbal diarrhea and tells everyone that he is the guy who bust the fight is my ex-boyfriend. And Cordell's like, that's the one who's been blowing up your phone and threatening you and all this kind of stuff. Again, Nova didn't know that. Cordell says all this. Nova didn't know that he knew. But it's obvious. She always runs to a new room when somebody calls her. She never responds to her texts in front of people. So maybe he snooped through her phone. Maybe there was a scene I showed like he snooped through her phone or whatever before or whatever. So that's the end of Cordell's episode. And then the Erebus scene is Cordell still like going off like, I know y'all didn't want to do this, but we had to leave Nova. So it seems like Cordell is mad at Nova in the Erebus scene. So he's like, nah, F that. We had to do what was right for us. Nobody wanted to leave Nova, especially me. Like, I loved her, but at the end of the day, we had to do what was best for us because we know what it's truly like to be out here struggling. And Nova didn't. And everybody look at him like, what are you talking about? So, yeah. So it's basically, it basically makes it seem like Cordell is suspicious. Not only is he, you know, leaving behind his girl that he loves on the ground, dead on the ground, but no one, you know, you got to remember Cordell still had blood on his hands. Like, and he wasn't at the party. So that was one thing. The next episode is Nova's story. So we finally get to see Nova's story and what was going on with that. Nova's story starts with, continues with the argument from Cordell. At this point, Nova tells Cordell about the baby. She tells him about the ex-boyfriend. She tells him everything because she doesn't want it on her conscience anymore. She knows how serious that incident was at the fight club. So she basically tells Cordell everything. And Cordell he's mad. He's not mad at Nova because you can't be. I mean, the only thing you could be mad at her about is keeping the secret from him. But he's just livid at the situation. He's livid at the whole cop still harassing her thing. He's livid that the girl he loves is pregnant by another man. He's livid that Nova kept a secret from him when he's been nothing but open with her from the beginning. And he's just mad at the situation in general. So he is not talking to Nova at this moment. Like, he's not talking about it. And he's not talking to her. He's not talking to her. He's just mad. And he, you know, he lost his money, he lost his fight. He's just pissed. So he just needs some space. He needs space. He needs time. He don't need Nova around him. So Nova is like completely distraught. Completely like angry and mad and just angry. And she gets a text message. Now, looking at her phone, she thinks it's going to be ex-boyfriend, but it's not. And I think the name is saved in the phone. It's like a mystery, so it's like emojis or a question mark or whatever. And it says, it's Sunday, first of the month, Sunday. You know what that means. I'll see you at our regular place. So this is all secretive. Everybody is like, I mean, we're watching and we're like, what the hell? What the hell she got to go to now? And then it cuts to the group. They're downstairs watching TV and they see another political campaign. And it's the same lady. They're trying to paint her out as the angry black female. It's more Angela Hunter. It's more, so it was going to be a second newscast. everything like that. And so Nova's like getting ready while everybody is doing, like, watching that scene. And then Nova goes to meet up with a mysterious person. When she gets to the restaurant to meet the mysterious person, it is the lady she's been watching on the news, Glenda, the lady who is running for mayor. It's Nova's mom. And the reason that Nova was kicked out of the house was because it was going to ruin her mother's political campaign, her political, like, reputation. To have a rebellious teenage daughter who can't control herself, it would be bad in the limelight. So she kicked her out. She couldn't control her. Glenda could not control. So now we learn that Nova's real name is Nova Simmons, not Nova Parm or whatever she came up with. So I believe we've also been seeing Nova watch a lot of the news. That's something that is a detail that you would just watch and see, that she watches the news a lot. So she meets up with her mom. Her mom's like, you know, they meet up once a month. No matter where Nova is, she knows she needs to come to this once a month dinner with her mom, because that's her mom's way of, quote unquote, checking up on her to make sure she's still good, she's alive. That was the only agreement they ever had. The only one that Nova still abides by. But at this moment, because everything that's going on in Nova's life right now, she forgot. So she goes to this meeting. We find out that Glenda is her mom. We find out that the lady she's been watching on the news, who she's been rooting for to become mayor of the city, is her mom. They talk. Her mom's like, how is everything? Are you okay? And Nova's like, my life is in completion. Was this the worst it's ever been? And basically talks to her about how she wished she never, you know, had been rebellious, how she would have just listened to you. Her life would have been so much different if she would have just listened to her mom. And her mom was like, I want to offer you to, like, come back with me and, like, stay with me, but you would have to change your ways. And Nova knows now that she's pregnant and involved with this older guy who's a cop, and current boyfriend is now a legal boxer and lives in a house with a whole bunch of troubled teenagers. She was like, yeah, no, I'm not going to do that, you know, out of consideration for her mom. Because I believe, like, after watching her mom and seeing how much she's grown, like, I guess through her political career, and, like, Nova watching that, she's grown to, like, respect her mom. And, you know, she's getting a little bit older now. So she sees, like, the decisions she made in the past are definitely not the good ones, because look where she is right now. So it's kind of coming to her that she wished she would have listened to her mom and went by the rules, and maybe her life wouldn't be in shambles like it is right now. So she ends that that whole situation with her mom, and her mom's like, okay, I'll see you next month, same time, same restaurant. And Nova's like, yep, that's right. So Nova goes back to the house, and I think she's in her room, and everyone gets a text message of this concert that's coming up. It is one of Peyton's friends. They're in a band, and they invite them to this, like, the concert that Nova goes to. And it's in, like, I think a week or 2 weeks time. And the same time the concert is happening is the same time that Mr. G tells them that he's going to be going out of town for I don't know where he made up something like, oh, I'm going out of town for a convention, but he was going on a poker trip or whatever. So the next, I think that is, I don't want to say that's the end of that story. Oh, also the Mr. G that night, Mr. G sees Nova watching the news again, and he's talking to her, and he's like, why are you so obsessed with the news? He was like, I've never seen a teenager your age, like, are so well, like, have such great knowledge of politics. Like, you're so into it. You watch it, you know what you're talking about, you know the policy, you know everything. He's like, why is that? And Nova basically tells him that that's her mom. And he was like, I knew, I was waiting for you to tell me. Like, he kind of picked up on it and kind of knew who she was and how, like, when she first came here, she had up that front, like, oh, this is me, this is who I am, like this bad girl front. But you can definitely see like Nova was basically like a cry out for help. Knew something was going on with Nova and the mayor, or the person running for mayor, because she was so, you would like the scenes I would show, she was so in it. Like, she would watch it and she would literally feel for this lady. Like, they're panning her out to be this angry black woman, and she could be the first black mayor. She could make all these huge changes for the city and all this kind of stuff. So you could see her passion behind it. So he kind of knew. So Mr. G talked to her and he told her more about his wife, and Mr. G told Nova more about his wife and, you know, like all the plans she had for them. And it's just like a really sentimental moment. And I think that Erebus, I don't remember what happens with that Erebus scene, y'all. I'm not going to even hold y'all. I don't remember what happened with that. Or I think they, oh wait, no, I do remember the Erebus scene. They're all finally home during the Erebus scene. So it's the end of the episode. End of the Erebus scene, they're all at home and they sit down, and I think TJ or Cordell sits down and says, okay, we need to sit down and we need to come up with a story, and we need to come up with one fast. And that's the end of that episode. So that was Nova's story. The next episode is the concert. So I think at this point, like 2 weeks had passed. So there's Nova and Cordell really haven't talked. Everybody in the house have noticed that they haven't talked. They don't really know what's going on. They just think that Cordell is still upset about the fight. They don't know that Nova's ex-boyfriend was the cop, and that no one knows that Nova's pregnant but Cordell. Nobody knows anything but, like, okay, Archie knows about the ex-boyfriend, who he is and everything like that. Archie did not say anything at the thing though. Y'all don't know that Archie knows until later. But yeah, Archie doesn't say anything. Cordell knows about the pregnancy and everything else. So this is the episode Mr. G leaves for his poker thing. So he's not going to be there. So they could break curfew. They could do whatever they want. They could drink. They can do whatever, because he's not going to be there for the whole weekend. So Peyton's like, here's my band, my friend's band. They want us to come. It's free. It's going to be stuff there. It's going to be lit. Let's go. Let's have fun or whatever. So they go. They go to the party. They go to the concert. They're all getting dressed. Everybody is ready to go. Like, Nova's like, I need to get out of the house. Like it's so much going on. I just want to get out the house. Cordell is like, I don't care. Like, whatever. He's whatever. Jade's ready to go. Archie is like, okay, you know, whatever, it's fine. And then, you know, Peyton's clearly ready to go. TJ want to go, whatever. Everybody's getting dressed. We show a little bit of everybody getting dressed. We also see Archie talking to his gamer friends online. And he's like, oh yeah, sorry guys, I'm not going to be able to game with you guys tonight and going to this concert. And they're like, oh, what concert are you going to? He tells them about it. They're like, oh, we're all going to be there. Like, it's like this huge, like, little teen thing. And he's like, oh, okay. Well, you know, maybe we can meet up and you guys can, like, let me in your squad. Because they have, like, this gaming group that Archie wants to be a part of, or this hacking group or whatever. Basically, a group of friends he wants to be a part of. But they're all like, oh, if you want to be a part of us, you got to prove yourself to us. You need to basically go through like some type of hazing or initiation to say that you're a part of us. And Archie's like, okay, well, if we're all going to be there tonight, just tell me what I got to do, because I really want to be a part of you guys and I want to feel accepted. Basically, Nova turning Archie down kind of hurt him a lot, because he thought he really had a shot with her. But after he realized he didn't, you know, he was kind of back in that bubble. So he's basically doing anything he can to fit in with these people. And they're like, hey, okay, well, meet us at this spot at the party, and then we can meet up and talk about it. And we could see about, you know, getting you into the group, basically. So that's what we see there. We see everybody getting dressed or whatever, da-da-da-da-da. We get to the concert. The concert plays out, which y'all saw. So the band playing, all the food, all the drinks. all the stuff they're not supposed to have. You see everybody there. Everybody's like dancing or whatever. This is something I missed. Jade and Peyton are always bickering, always fighting, always arguing, always throwing jabs at each other, all the low blows, like always fighting, like all the time. And keep that in mind. That's something I forgot. So they all go to this party. TJ's hooking up with the girl. Archie meets up with the people. The people's like, oh yeah, so you know, now that you're here, we want you to put this in the punch. And they basically give him like a baggie that's full of like this powdery substance. And he's like, what is this? And he was like, we're like, don't worry about it. If you're one of us, you'll go in there and you'll basically spike the drinks. And Archie's like, you know, he's hesitant of it, but he wants so badly to be a part of this group that he's willing to do just anything to get a part of it. And he's like, bro, is this drugs? Like, what is this? And he's like, yeah, he tells him basically it's like roofie, like I guess like powdered drugs or whatever. I don't know, like crushed or roofies, whatever. I don't know what it was gonna be, but basically it was like this thing that gets people feeling a little loose. And Archie's like, I really don't want to do this. Like, this is dangerous. Like, this can really hurt people. Like, you don't know how people are gonna react to this or whatever. And they're all like, well, Archie, look, if you want to be a part of us, you say you want to be accepted by us, da 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 da. This is what we're saying you got to do, and you got to do it before the concert is over. So Archie basically has this looming over his head the whole party. So basically now I'm showing you where everybody is at the party and what's going on during the party. Okay, keep that in mind. So that was Archie's scene. We see him meeting up with the hacker people, da 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 da. Next is TJ. TJ's hooking up with this random girl. She's like, oh, you look so familiar. Like, I feel like I saw you somewhere. Da 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 da. We find out that this girl knows who TJ is and what TJ really does, like lifting stuff. And she's like, oh, I love you, whatever, let's make out. So they go in the back behind on the opposite side of the warehouse. They go back there and they're basically fooling around. And then we see Nova, and Nova is under the assumption that, you know, the punch that they have there is not spiked because there's beer everywhere. So this like, oh, this is juice because, you know, Nova's pregnant. So she's like, okay, I'm gonna get some juice out this punch bowl. At 12 something or 1 something or whatever, I think it's 12, Archie texts everybody in their group chat, do not drink the punch. Don't drink the punch. Okay? Nobody ever listens to Archie. And he says that in the Erebus scene every single time. Y'all don't listen to me. I'm trying to tell, like, y'all don't listen to him. Listen to him at all. So Archie does what the hacker people want him to do. And he ends up spiking the punch with whatever drug that was. And Nova has been drinking that all night because she was under the assumption it was juice. It tastes just like juice. It doesn't taste like alcohol. There's no alcohol in it. So nobody was really touching the punch because there was no alcohol in it. Everybody has beer and there's bottles everywhere, whatever. So Nova's just drinking, cups and cups, you know, just at the concert, chilling, trying to like see where Cordell is because she's like, does anybody know where Cordell is? Like Cordell left with them, but like after a short while, you realize that we've gone to every single person and we haven't seen Cordell. So what happens after this? So Nova's drinking a punch, and everybody thinks Nova's drunk because she's like walking around, falling over people, like, woo, yeah, you know, watching a concert. Like, she just looks belligerent. She looks like she's out of it. And she come across Jade, and Jade's like, girl, you're having a good old time, da da da, live it up. Like, Cordell will be fine. Don't worry about Cordell. Like, he'll get over it. Just give him some time. And everybody's just doing their own thing at the concert. Next, we're looking for Peyton, right? Because we haven't seen Peyton this whole party. Peyton is upstairs on the second floor of the warehouse. So, Jade gets a text from Peyton saying, hey, can you meet me upstairs? I really need to talk to you. This is really important. And Jade gets that text message when she's talking to Nova. And she was like, girl, you might want to slow down. Like, you're going to look crazy tonight. And Nova's like, I don't know what you're talking about. Like, I'm you know, like, I'm chilling. I'm fine. Da, da, da. clearly Nova is now, you know, Nova is poisoned with this roofie. So basically she's roofied. She's not on crack. She's roofied. So Jade gets the text message to meet Peyton upstairs, and she meets her upstairs. Now y'all saw the upstairs of the warehouse. It's really like unfinished. It's like an abandoned warehouse. So the second floor, there's nothing on it, and there's like a spare room that has a door. So they go in that room to talk. And before Jay leaves, Jay's like, hey, drink some water or something, because I don't want you to be too lit or whatever. And Nova's like, okay, whatever. So Peyton and Jay go in that room and they talk. And Peyton's like, I really wanted to talk to you because I feel like we're always fighting. We're always arguing. And I hate that. I don't want that. Like, I don't want that between us. And Jay's like completely confused. She's like, what? Like, girl, why are we talking about this right now? Like, this is a party. I'm not trying to be kumbaya right now at this party. I'm trying to, you know, go listen to the band and whatever. And Peyton's like, no, this is serious. Like, I really want to talk to you about it because I just don't want this kind of relationship between us anymore. And Jay's like, I'm completely fine with this relationship how it is. It doesn't bother me that we throw jabs at each other. It is what it is. And Peyton ends up kissing Jade. Now, Jade has stated in her episode that Cordell was not her type because she basically plays for the opposite team. Jade is gay. So when Peyton kisses Jade, she like, like, what the hell? What? This what this was? That's why you be acting like that towards me? So it becomes clear. And Jay is like, whoa, is this what this was this whole time? Like, you couldn't just say that. And of course, Peyton is like going back and forth with herself. She's like, no, I'm not. Yes, I am. I don't know. I'm confused. And I think Jade kind of picks up on that. Like, okay, girl, clearly you don't know what's going on. But like, we could have been talking about this. Like, da 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 da. And they're talking and getting a little flirtatious or whatever. And yeah, while they're talking, we cut to Cordell. Ooh, girl. Cordell is nowhere near the party. Cordell is in the city. And he looks up at this building, and the building has like a name on it. We're going to call it King Towers, because I don't know. So King Towers. And it cuts to earlier in the day where Archie was talking to his hacker friends. And he gets a knock on his door, and it's Cordell. And Cordell's like, look, I need you to do me a favor. And Archie is like a little scared because, like I said, Cordell's been angry these last couple of episodes. So Cordell is like coming at him like, look, I need you to do me this favor and not ask any questions. And he's like, I need you to look up this guy. And he shows him a picture, and it's ex-boyfriend. It's the cop ex-boyfriend. He's like, I need you to look up this guy and tell me where he is. Tell me where he lives. And Archie's like, whoa, that's not something I really do. I normally just hit up people's accounts. Like, I don't really try to like spy on people. You can really get in trouble for that. And then he's like, you know, like, this guy's a cop. Like, I can't do that. I'll get in trouble. And Cordell basically is like towering over Archie, like, listen, this what you gonna do for me. I need you to do this. No questions asked. And he says Erebus. And Archie does it because that's their rule. He's like, I don't want to throw this around, but I need you to do this for me. It's important. And Archie does it. Archie gives him a name, address, who he is. Archie knows who he is, y'all. Archie knows who he is. He knows who that man is. But I think at this point, y'all still don't know that Archie knows. But Archie knows who this is, and he's like completely not trying to do it. Cordell is like basically intimidating him, towering over him, yelling, screaming, like, and then he throws out Erebus. He does it. So Archie does it, gives it to him, So Cordell leaves with them, gets to the party, but as soon as he sees that everybody's off doing their own thing, he leaves. He goes to the address, which is King's Towers, and he's in the city, and he's waiting to see if old dude comes out the building, because he's ready to just end it all. He is ready to go for it. He knows that that is her ex-boyfriend, who's been like, you know, harassing her, who's been threatening her, who is a cop who also busted his fight. So Cordell ready to end it all, baby. He over it. He done. Okay. And he gets there and he's just waiting. Cut back to the party. Jade and Peyton upstairs in that little room making out, child. The conversations they was having is no longer conversation. They is at each other's face, okay? And meanwhile, we see Nova like upstairs, and I think there was like a couch on the second floor. So Nova is completely gone off this spiked drink with the roofie. So she's like out of it. She's stumbling everywhere. She is a mess. And she comes upstairs and she's like, I just want to lay down. I just want to lay down. She lays on a little couch. When she gets to the couch, ex-boyfriend is upstairs, leaned up against the wall. He's like, I knew I was going to find you here. I knew you was going to be here because you always doing something you don't have no business doing. He basically reveals that since they met up that time, he has basically been tracking her. He knows where she's been, what she's been saying. He knows everything about Cordell. He knows that she didn't really get rid of the baby. He knows everything. He knows that she lied. He knows that like it's always been a big thing that if it came out that he was doing this with Nova, that I think he wants to be in the police, like he wants to be like higher up in the force, so like sergeant or whatever. He knew that this would break him, so he never wanted Nova to keep the baby because that just confirms that their relationship. So he's upstairs and he's trying to talk to Nova. Clearly Nova doesn't she understands no, she doesn't, but you know, she's out of it. So he's trying to talk to her, and they get to the point where they're standing in front of the opening and they're arguing. Nova is she's well enough that she can argue back. So it's slurred and she not holding herself up, but she's arguing back. He's like, how could you do this to me? I thought you loved me. Like, we said we was going to be in this forever together, and you just going, you know, had this baby knowing what it can do to me. And Nova's like, I don't want to have this baby. I want to get rid of it because I got somebody who, you know, basically talking about Cordell. I want to be with him. Like, he means everything to me and all this kind of stuff. So that's making old boy mad. Cut back. OD, please wait. I have an ad. Okay. Y'all tell me when the ad over. Y'all, ain't this crazy? I'm about to tell y'all the ending. Oh my goodness. Let me know when it's over, because I can't see. Not my thing not letting me talk in my own chat. Y'all right in there. Tell them to let me know when the ad over, because I can't see. Let's see. Oh, it got a minute. Not this cliffhanger. Okay, it has a minute. Yeah, sub to D for ad free review. Oh my goodness, Erebus is wild. If I ever do another thing like this, I'll rewrite an entirely brand new storyline. But Erebus was definitely had influence from How to Get Away with Murder, Pretty Little Liars. What's the other show I'm thinking of? I can't remember. But those had heavily big, like really big influence on this series. Make sure you connect your Twitch to your Amazon Prime. Hey, we got 30 seconds. This needs to be on Netflix. Dang, wait till I tell y'all season 2. Oh my gosh. The crazy thing is me and Ed, So if y'all know Ito-sama, Sims. Oh yeah, Scandal. Not remember my favorite TV show,
Chilly
Scandal.
anyways, SSS.
Aww. Naya, thank you so much for the 39 months. I appreciate it. Thank you. Okay, my ad's over. Okay, perfect. I got 10 more seconds. Scandal, yes. So Erebus was heavily influenced by Scandal, How to Get Away with Murder, and Pretty Little Liars. So, yes. Okay, we back. All right. Okay, so, so ex-boyfriend and Nova are talking. They're full on like he's yelling, or you could tell like he's like very agitated and everything. So oh yeah, so they're arguing. Cut back to Cordell. Cordell is still at King's Towers waiting for ex-boyfriend old boy to come out. He never comes out, so Cordell's pissed. Cordell just starts punching the wall, right? YouTube, what's good, bro? It's your boy Ito. Also that. Oh, that's what I was about to say. Me and Ed finished Erebus' story. He used to come over here, and we would like do like machinima work together, and we would do storylines. And I remember that night we stayed up, like Ed and Cece will be over here. We stayed up till like 7 o'clock in the morning finishing Erebus, like the storyline. Like we was just sitting on my couch. I think we was watching Catfish or whatever, because that used to be like our little routine or whatever. And we really etched out season 1 of Erebus that night, like 7 o'clock in the morning. Anyway, Cordell was still waiting for old boy to come out. Didn't see him. Like realize, I think he like at that point he like realized that he wasn't there. Maybe he looked through an apartment window or walked in the apartment, whatever, seeing that he's not there. He completely goes ham and starts punching the wall. So he's punching the wall till his fist get bloody. And that's where the blood comes from, on Cordell's fist. And he starts making his way back to the party. So cut back to Nova and ex-boyfriend still chit-chatting it up. And all of a sudden, he starts yelling. And then he pushes Nova. Ex-boyfriend pushes Nova out the 2-story window. Nova falls to the ground. And then he just runs out. He runs and he's gone. Like ex-boyfriend is gone. He pushes Nova to the point like they're arguing. She's like, I got this man who wants me, who cares about me. I want to get my life together. I don't want to be with you anymore. Like, this is not healthy. This is not good for me. Like, we both just need to end this. I'm not going to have this baby. I'm just over it, whatever. And he's like, you're going to do what I say. You're going to listen to me. Completely controlling, whatever. He pushes her, leaves. Jade and, y'all remember the 2 people who found Nova? It's Jade and Peyton. They were upstairs in that closet. So in the beginning of the Erebus teaser, or the beginning of the Erebus episode, you see Jade and Peyton standing over the opening, looking down at Nova. Okay. So like I said in the beginning, I left Easter eggs for people who watch shows like this. You got to pick up on stuff. So if you watch the teaser, you also know that, or the first episode, whatever, you also know that Archie put in there before everybody started texting. There was a text from Archie that says, whatever you do, don't drink the punch. That was an Easter egg. Jade and Peyton finding her was also foreshadow for, they were hooking up in that little room closet that was up there. They heard a thud, a scream, or whatever, and like it cuts to them like kissing, like, did you hear something? And they're like, no. And then Jay's like, no, I heard something. And then they walk out the room and they look around and they see that Nova's outside the window. That's when Jay starts texting everybody, I don't care what you're doing. Everybody come to the back of the warehouse, Erebus. And that's when that whole scene starts. So that is what happened. Her ex-boyfriend pushed her out of the window because he was mad and angry or whatever, with intent to kill her, because that's what he was trying to do. That was his intention. And when Jade texts everybody, Erebus, to get there, remember Cordell's already on his way back. So he's not far from, everybody else is there. And that's when the whole Erebus scene happens. But what they don't know What they don't know, because they left, is Nova was still alive. Nova was still alive. All they had to do was get her to the hospital and she would be fine. But they left her without checking her pulse. I remember that was a big thing too. People was like, why nobody ain't check sis pulse? Why nobody ain't make sure she was actually dead? Nova was still alive. So I think that was the end of that episode. And the last episode is them at the house trying to come up with a story. As she should be. She need to get her lick back. So basically they go, the next episode and starts with them at the house all sitting down, talk about, we need to get our story straight. And everybody asking questions like, Cordell, why is your hands bloody? Like, what was you doing? Why weren't you even at the party? He tells them. They go to Archie. Archie, why do you have her phone? Like, why do you have that? Archie then tells them that he knows that she has some secrets, some demons in her closet. And he knew that things were going to get bad when he gave Cordell the information about the same dude who was on her phone. So I think Archie just didn't know. Maybe Archie didn't know like all of the details, but he knew that phone would lead back to Cordell and to Archie. So he took it. So the reason that Cordell left is because the reason he say we leave her is because there was nothing else they could do. They couldn't call the police. He couldn't call the police after he just staked out a police's apartment. Even though she was pregnant, even though he loved her, he had to leave her because there's nothing else they could do. They can't go. He knows that you can't go and take her to the hospital. It's almost like Cordell knew who did this to her. And taking her there wouldn't help her, even though she was still alive. So that's why he says leave. Was she able to hear them deciding to leave her? She just was. I think she came back too. Like we could say she like passed out. She was passed out when she fell. But when they left, that's when she came to and was like, help me, Erebus. So I think, yeah, maybe she did see them leaving her. So this episode, again, Mr. G's not there. They're back home. They're all coming out with a story, but everybody's revealing the secrets they knew about Nova. So Nova told every single person something. So everybody, that episode is everybody we already know. The audience already know. I can't remember what it's called. Something foreshadow, adaptive foreshadow, something like that. It's when the readers know or the viewers know what's going on, but the characters in the situation don't. So basically everybody was telling that one secret that secret that they knew of Nova, and they put it all together. So the pregnancy came out. The ex-boyfriend being a cop came out. The ex-boyfriend harassing her came out. I think nobody knew that her mama was the mayor. I don't think that came out. Jade knows like she comes from a lot of money and she comes from a very, high up background. So that came out. And I think she told TJ something minimal. She told Peyton something minimal. It all came out and they basically all was getting their story together. So that episode is all about them dishing out, coming up with the story that makes sense, ties everything to dramatic irony. There it is. Thank you, Ty. I said adaptive foreshadowing, but y'all know what I mean. Thank you. So everybody is coming up with this story and they're trying to figure out what they're going to do if the cops ever come to them and ask them what happened. They have a story. They all were like grieving, and like I think at one point Cordell kind of like just freaks out because he realizes what's going on. I do think people also need to realize that they were all in shock. Like their friend was dead on the ground, unalive, and it's very traumatic. So I think a lot of people forgot that they're in shock and adrenaline's going, head spinning and all that kind of stuff. So as they're getting their story straight to try to to come up with this. I think at this point it's morning. They've been talking about this all morning. They've been talking to each other. They've been figuring things out. It's just like a scene of the camera going in like a slow circle of you seeing everybody talk, everybody pointing, everybody coming up with stuff, people crying, people, you know, all that kind of stuff. And by the time Jay is like ends it and she's like, okay, that's our story and we're sticking to it. Everybody know it, like memorize it, repeat it, like, but just remember this is under us. Like, we're never going to do that. And, you know, we need to remember Nova and love her and grieve for her in our own space. But remember that, you know, we can never talk about this. And I think also Jade reveals that, no, Jade doesn't reveal that she called the police. So that's one secret that everybody still doesn't remember or know, is that Jade called the police because she felt bad that Nova's body was there or whatever. So that was probably not the best thing to do, y'all, because her ex-boyfriend is a police officer. Anyway, so they're all talking. They got the story straight. It ends with Jade saying, okay, that's our story. We're sticking to it. Remember it. Remember it. They get a knock on the door. Jade says again, whatever you do, we don't rat on each other. We've been through, I think they say something like, we've been through this before, which is also like, that was also like a little Easter egg for me to do another series if I wanted to or something with them. But they get a knock on the door and Jay's like, remember what we said. We're not turning against each other. We're not doing this. You know where we stand. Like, this is it. They open the door and it is the chief of police with ex-boyfriend. And they say, are you Jade such and such? And she says yes. And they say, are basically list everybody. TJ Blanc, whatever his name is. TJ here is Archie blank here, is Peyton blank here, da da da. Everybody gets up, come behind Jade, and they're like, yes. And they say, you're all under the arrest for the murder of Nova. And that's it. That was the end of season 1. That was it. That was it. Chief of police and ex-boyfriend. That was it. We need to go. That was it. And the question of, is Nova dead or alive? Take that what you will. Is she putting the music on for me? I'm sorry. That's it, y'all. That's it. Season 2 started with all of them in a interrogation room one by one. Like, I told you everything I know type situation like that. I never decided if Nova was dead or alive. That's why I couldn't answer y'all. Because I wanted, the story could have went two ways. The story could have been that she's dead, and I had two ideas. The first idea was Nova's dead, and the ex-boyfriend, because Jade called the cops, he knew, he went back and basically finished the job. And I was still going to use all the characters. Jade was still, Nova still was going to be in season 2, but it was going to be like her writing in her journals. Of like different things like she noticed about each person and how they affected her and stuff like that. So you will see her basically in flashback. The second one was, because Jay called the police, ex-boyfriend knew that it had been reported and stuff, went back and got Nova and basically had held her this entire time. So everybody's on the assumption that Nova is dead. The season 2 was pretty much supposed to be the whole entire like interrogation and like the whole process of like the whole process of the murder of Nova was from these 4 people or 5 people or whatever. So it's basically supposed to be the whole season 2 is like, you know, the interrogation, the conviction, the investigation basically. So, you know, people start asking questions like, is there a body? Like, where is she? Where are her parents? And then it comes out that the mayor's her mom. And I don't think ex-boyfriend knew the mom was her mayor. I mean, the mayor was her mom. So like she starts looking into stuff because she's like, where's my daughter? I think Nova misses that dinner. So yeah, season 2 is the investigation season. Nova misses that dinner, which makes her mom look into her, which makes her not be able to find her daughter. And she starts looking into things and find out about the investigation, finds out about the house, finds out about the other teenagers, and starts getting into that. I remember everybody, Erebus is their thing. So like, you know, they don't tell nothing. They don't cross each other. So then it was going to be like ex-boyfriend had her the entire time. Like he's been holding her, like has her like in his apartment or locked away or whatever. Because he doesn't want to ruin everything that's happening. So yeah, it was going to be like, you know, people trying to come out with their story and all that kind of stuff. And everybody knows things. Like now everybody knows everything. But they, of course, if you weren't in it, you don't know everything. So like Cordell knew about the pregnancy because she told him about the pregnancy. And they knew everything about it and stuff like that. Ugh, it was going to be crazy. So that was the 2 theories. Either she was really going to be dead because ex-boyfriend finished it. Or ex-boyfriend was going to hold her. And the investigation was going to happen and basically he was going to try to pin this on them. And then the whole thing, like it was going to come out, you know, that Nova was actually like drugged and roofied, like she wasn't actually drunk. Oh yeah, that comes out too. Like Archie tells them that he had to roofie the punch. So Jay realizes that Nova wasn't actually drunk. She was like, you know, under the influence. I don't know if she would have. Yeah, I'm pretty sure she would have. Or if we did the dead thing, then she would be dead. If we did he held her, then I guess that would have to be. I've never finished season 2's plotting, but that was going to be the concept. I'm dead. And then Nova comes back and in the middle of the court case. That could have went another way too. So it was just always, you know, up in the air. But it was, y'all, this is so hard to do in Sims. Like everything that I'm explaining to you is so much work. And if you think on top of my YouTube full-time load and my Twitch full-time load, there was no way I was going to be able to do it. But I'm happy y'all know now. I don't think I ever was gonna do a lick back type of thing. Well, I thought about it. I thought about she come back and basically get back at them for leaving her. But then I was like, I don't know. Mr. G out gambling, right? But y'all, I hope y'all enjoyed this stream. It was a lot going on, but it was worth it. I'm tired. Y'all tired. It's late. If you have questions, tag me on Twitter. Thank y'all so much for tuning in tonight. I hope y'all really enjoyed this. Thank y'all for finally getting it out of me, because I was never going to tell y'all. My heart is full now. I'm happy. I'm happy your heart is full. Thank y'all so much for all the love and energy tonight. I hope y'all, this exclusive AF, it really is. If y'all really do have questions, I do not mind y'all asking me on Twitter, or even saying I talked about it on Twitter. It don't matter. People ever want to know about Erebus, they're gonna have to come here now and figure it out. I love y'all so much. Thank you for all the love and energy. I'll see y'all real soon. Remember to stay beautiful, stay lovely, stay in the house because it's hot, and have a grand day.